2 hours after I made my initial video about Kyle Tucker getting traded potentially, the trade officially went down. And I agree with what this article has to say. I do think that Kyle Tucker to the Cubs does make them potentially a favorite in the NL Central with other trades going down, which I will be making a video on later today about in the NL Central. So I think that this trade is huge for the Cubs, right? Obviously, they paid a little bit of a steep price, giving up Isaac Paredes, Cam Smith, and Hayden Weickelman. And I think that this is a trade that I get for the Cubs, like I talked about in my last video, but I don't think it's the end all be all for them, right? I think they still need a lot more. But the Cubs get a top 10, top 7 player in baseball, so you can't really be too mad about it. As we come over here and look at their lineup, this is not a bad lineup like I was talking about earlier, but it's still not an amazing lineup, right? Like Ian Happ, who knows what we're getting from Ian Happ anymore? Kyle Tucker, obviously one of the best players in the entire sport. There's no secret about that. Seiya Suzuki, who knows if he's going to be on the roster, but if he stays on the roster, he's a great player, great hitter. Cody Bellinger looks like he's going to become a Yankee. So, I don't think Cody Bellinger will be in this lineup come opening day, for sure. He definitely will not be on the lineup by year end. I think that trade is going to come sooner rather than later. Dansby Swanson has not had a great offensive season since Chicago. Not an easy place to hit. Michael Busch was good last year. It was his rookie year, and he was actually pretty good for them. So I think they have a bright spot there with Michael Busch. And Nico Horner's another guy who's been, had his name in some trade conversation. So who knows if he's going to be there, by the deadline time. But if they're competing and they're atop the Central, he would be a guy that definitely is probably on the team still as they try to make their final push. And Matt Shaw will be projected to come up to start for his rookie year next year as the member of the Chicago Cubs. And Miguel Amaya, who I talked about last video, isn't great, but decent defensive catcher, so can't go too wrong there. Now, I am a little bit confused what they're going to do. Because if you see right there, Pete Crow Armstrong is on the bench, and I don't think they want that. I do think they want Pete Crow Armstrong starting, so I think that's when Bellinger gets traded. They make the move they put Pete Crow Armstrong back in the lineup, and whether it's Suzuki or Bellinger, who knows? Because with this current lineup, Suzuki would be your DH, and he's been on record saying he doesn't want to do that. He even said as he was about, as he's in these trade rumors, that if a team wants him as a DH, that he's not going to that team because he has a full no trade clause. So some moves to make big time for the Cubs because this lineup isn't awful. It isn't the worst lineup. This is a lineup that definitely can win some games, but I feel like they still need more. It's just what do they do per se that would be quote unquote more. I think that's the part that's a little bit confusing for them. They went out and got Carson Kelly as a backup catcher. It's a whatever move, right? You want two decent catchers. Carson Kelly, good defensive catcher. But I think this team could win the Central, like I mentioned earlier. Right? They still need bullpen help. Their bullpen is probably their next point of address. The lineup is good for it's fine for the moment, but before they address the lineup, they need to address this down here. This is not a good bullpen. They made the trade for Eli Morgan, who was a setup dude last year and one of the best bullpens in baseball, if not the best bullpen. But still, that can't be the only move. Is Peter Hodgson be the guy that they decide to roll with? He had a good year last year, so maybe. But they got an 8-9 guy and then a bunch of who knows what. So, a little bit confused on how they're going to approach this. They spent some money this offseason, one of the most active teams in the offseason, but they shouldn't be done yet. And getting Kyle Tucker is a big all-in move, right? And clearly they want to win this year and try to make an effort this year because Kyle Tucker's not a guarantee to come back as he is a free agent at the end of the year. And apparently all the rumors have been he wants to address and hit free agency. And especially after Soto's deal, who could blame him? He saw what Soto got, and he's going in free agency a little bit older than Soto, but if we all saw the Soto money. And Kyle Tucker is one hell of a player, so he wants to dip his toes in the free agency water, and I absolutely don't blame him. I like what the Cubs have cooking. I'm just interested to see where they go from here, and I think for them the next move is absolutely the bullpen. This is a little glimpse of what Cubs fans can be expecting to add in Kyle Tucker. The clips right here are back-to-back home runs in a World Series game. And I mentioned earlier, not too much postseason success, but he's too good of a player to just have bad postseason and be a bad postseason career player. So I'm excited for Cubs fans, right? This is something they should be absolutely excited for. You're adding one of the top 7 to 10 players in baseball, consistent MVP candidate, and hopefully they can re-sign him or extend him, but we shall see. Congrats, Cubs fans. This is what the Astros got back in return. They went and got Isaac Paredes, who was a guy that they were interested in from the trade deadline. So that's a guy that they were already looking to add to their team before the Cubs got him at the deadline. Hayden Westnecki, pretty decent arm, right? And for a team who potentially is going to trade their ace of their staff in Framber Valdez, Hayden Westnecki can provide some necessary depth to that team and a top 100 prospect in baseball and third baseman Cam Smith. So this is a good trade for the Astros, right? They got a guy that they want who's going to play amazing in Minute Maid. Hayden Westnecki is a depth arm who can be pretty good. And Cam Smith is a guy that they can use to build up a really not so good farm system. So I like this trade for the Astros. If it was up to me and I was running the Astros, I would give Kyle Tucker the blank check because he is that good. And I don't know what the Astros are doing at this point. At this point, it seems ridiculous that they're acting as if they're a small market team who can't pay anybody, but it's just ridiculous. I mean, they're probably going to lose out on Bregman. The Isaac Paredes move can make you think that maybe if he goes to first and they bring back Bregman, but if they weren't willing to give Tucker some money, I don't know why they would give it to Alex Bregman. I'm very confused on the direction of the Houston Astros at this point. And as I say that, let's go take a look at the team they're bringing into next season. This is their lineup. This is not a great lineup at all. Like, not very good, to be truthful. You have a good 1, you have a great 3, or great 1, great 3, good 4, and then the rest of the lineup is just meh, right? This is not a great lineup at all, and I really don't like where this team is going. I guess this is going to be a team that's going to be heavy on their pitching, but even then, like, the rotation isn't the best thing in the world, but definitely a rotation that can win them some games, and their bullpen is good, right? They had a weird season from Hader, but I believe he'll bounce back, and I don't know what they're going to do with Ryan Presley. I'm very confused on the direction of the Houston Astros in 2024. I think they're a very interesting team in terms of no one knows what the Astros are going to do. They're just so random and all over the place, and trading away Kyle Tucker, one of your best players, getting rid of some salary potentially in a guy like Framber Valdez and Ryan Presley. What are they doing? What's the plan? Are they trying to compete? Are they building for the future? What are they doing? And I don't think anyone really has an answer. I don't even think Astros fans, Astros reporters have an answer on what the Houston Astros are trying to do. After such a long, dominant run, this is the way it ends, and it just feels weird, like relying on your outfield of Chas McCormick, Taylor Trammell, and Jake Myers is just brutal. I mean, look at the stats from right here from them 3. This is horrible. And, Chas McCormick can bounce back. We've seen good seasons out of him before, right? So maybe they have something somewhat there, but that's your Kyle Tucker replacement for the time being. So unless they go get like a Santander, which regardless, that's going to be an overpay. I like Santander, but it's just ridiculous that they're going to be their pivot move when they could have just tried everything they could to keep Tucker. And who knows, maybe they go hard after him at free agency, and it's a win-win. They get some prospects, they get some good players, and then they just bring Tucker back. But who knows? The way they've been acting lately, I don't foresee them opening up the checkbooks for Kyle Tucker. This is who the Cubs have given away to the Astros, and Astros fans, pay attention to where the home runs are being hit and where that's going to relate to Houston with the Crawford boxes, right? This is a good get for the Astros. There's a reason why they were so aggressive at the deadline to get him. I loved Isaac Paredes to them. And here's Cam Smith, a potential third base option for you guys in the future. I mean, he's got some serious pop, 6 straight home runs to start his career out in the minors. Very exciting prospect. And Hayden Westnecki, random immaculate inning pitches right here, right? This guy has some potentially really nasty stuff, and the way that the Astros have developed pitching, who knows what they can do. The Astros got a good return, although I know they would rather have Kyle Tucker. The Astros still did the right thing in terms of getting some decent value for him. Good luck, Astro fans.